Welcome in to another episode of Not My Scene as we're back again. I'm Taylor from K-Way. That's Matt from K-Way. And we've got a couple of reviews for you once again here this week. And what we did is we exchanged a couple of songs from bands before they were big. And so I think this could be pretty interesting. By the way, I will post down in the description the videos, the songs that we are reviewing, so you can go give those a listen either before or after you take in this video. And Matt, we did not discuss it beforehand.
You set me up first.
Okay, all right. So the song that I have given to Matthew comes from Paramore. Paramore, obviously quite a big band these days, and they were big in sort of my scene before they burst onto the pop scene, and they had a song that was pretty massive within the scene called Emergency, and that is the song that I gave Matt. This song was written by Hayley Williams, and I just forgot its name, another member of Paramore, when they were like 15 years old. So they were literal teenagers talking about love, I suppose, and kind of the fragility of it. Again, the song called Emergency. Matthew, what'd you think?
It's a good song. It sounds just like its era, 2005. You know, it's just had that feel, and you don't know whether they had that feel because it was one of the groups creating that feel or whether it was a product of its time. Either way, it sounds like 2005. It makes me feel as though I'm back in high school or college, in that range.
Yeah.
It's right on the verge of my going to college. The syncopated guitar is fun and turns it into like a quasi percussion with a lot of that little driving sound to it. A lot of Paramore does a lot of syncopated stuff throughout their lineup, but this one very much so. I like the use of space in the song. There's sometimes where they just have a little bit of nothing. Yeah. Vocally, they do that, and the guitar. Those two things both do that. I really like that. I feel like some bands just feel like they have to fill everything, and I think it was Sting once said that the space between the notes is one of his favorite things. And that was, they used some great space, and that's hard for a young band to do, and they did that well. Hayley's voice is great, especially considering she's a teenager.
Yeah.
You can see why originally she was given a solo contract at like 13 years old. And then she said, no, I want to be part of a band. But you can see why they wanted to go with her. Her voice was just premier. Very, very good. The video's good as well. You know, it's kind of interesting. It's like straightforward yet not. But the lyrics are interesting to me. They're about fighting for a relationship rather than letting it die out and fizzle. I recognize the emergency. Don't let it just go away. And it's interesting because she credits watching her parents divorce for the inspiration for this, and it's one of those things. She writes about it so honestly, like the only exceptions one I like as well, because my parents were divorced, and so like I get where she's coming from. Sure. And I could see that as well, how that, you know, watching her parents fight but not really fight for, just fighting against each other and just not recognizing the emergency really impacted her in this. Sadly, she would get divorced herself later, but it was interesting. Just the depth of writing for a kid is interesting, both musically, and not a ton of depth musically, but enough interesting musically, and then lyrically is really impressive considering she was a literal child.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it's a great, and you could tell at that point in time they were going to do something pretty good. So I liked it. Yeah, Paramore, Emergency. Good too.
Yeah, and you mentioned Hayley's divorce. The guy she got divorced from is Chad Gilbert. Remember, I told you he had a writing credit on the song that I gave you last week.
Yeah, I know.
That was the little tie-in that I mentioned.
Big Chad Gilbert fan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, apparently you are.
So and then the song I gave you,
yeah,
was a band right before they got big, Switchfoot and Poparazzi. In fact, the album after that was when they got massive, and they were in like the Christian surfer scene, if there's ever such a thing. It was Christian music, and everybody's like, oh, they sold out, they've gone mainstream. No, they just sold. People actually bought it this time. Yeah. But I like this tune. It's fun. It's back when they were a three-piece. And what'd you think?
Yeah, so Paparazzi by Switchfoot. Switchfoot is a band that obviously I've been aware of for quite some time. Never been a band that I was particularly into, I wouldn't say. I think that they're talented. I think that they're good. They're just really the problem that I have with it's not really a problem, but the reason I'm not into Switchfoot is they just are too sort of clean. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing. They're just like too. I don't know. Yeah, clean. I guess is the best word that I want to say. Right? There's nothing like. I don't know. There's no like texture to it for me. But anyway, this song is completely different than what they're sort of known for, and a lot worse in my opinion. I did not like this song.
Really?
Not even a little bit.
Wow.
I found it extremely hard to listen to. Of the songs you've given me, like this one, I had to like fight myself from turning it off. It was really hard to listen to. It is for me just it's bad grunge. I think it came out in like, do you know what time when it like
02.
Yeah, very early 2000s, and so like it came out in a time when nobody wanted grunge really. Like it was past the grunge heyday for sure, and not yet to where it is now. Like if they did this song, if they did it better, and they put this song out now, it might do quite a bit better. But it was hard for me to listen to. It was, and I think the lyrics are fine. I don't have any issue necessarily with the lyrics, other than the fact that I have several questions, and let's see if we can work through them. Okay, so paparazzi is spelled differently. It's spelled Poparazzi, and I guess because they're talking about pop and pop music, and they're complaining about pop music, which is what they became. So that's that's difficult. And I can't imagine that they were dealing at this point with a whole lot of like paparazzi, like proper paparazzi. So it's just, I don't know. It feels like I guess one of my issues with this song is I feel like it was not real as a topic that they weren't actually dealing with, and so that was part of it too. And so again, I think the lyrics are maybe okay. Like I think if you put different music behind it, I think maybe the song would work better for me. But it just nothing about it was my real issue is the sort of grungy music behind, because it's just not good. It just sounds bad to the ear. In my opinion, and obviously they're talented. They wouldn't be as famous as they are now without that. But
I thought there was like this album had I think 2 songs that they just put onto their next album that was huge, and they got really popular. And so I didn't give you one of those.
Yeah.
Those are probably the better 2 songs of this album. But I always thought this one was fun.
I did not like it. Did not like it at all. And if you are a Switchfoot stan, as the kids say,
like my friend Austin Droughty,
like your friend Austin Droughty, he would definitely love it. And or if you like grunge, whether it's good or bad, I guess you can check this out as well. But it's just not a song.
I'm surprised you call it grunge. It's very poppy.
I don't know. I think the music itself is pretty bad, and that's maybe a little bit of an issue too. I think maybe there was a little bit of a battle between the lead singer,
John Foreman,
and he has a very pop rock, like very soft pop, like pop rock voice, and it kind of combats, at least for me, with what I found to be grunge music underneath it.
He's an interesting guy because he's like a poet.
Yeah.
Which I guess songwriting is poetry.
Yeah.
His solo stuff is wildly different than anything Switchfoot has ever done.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's great music to sit on while you're on a train.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. Yeah. And I remember, you mentioned you were talking about Switchfoot and selling out and things along those lines. I definitely remember like a lot of kids in the scene talking about that, and being absolutely disgusted when somebody said that they enjoyed Switchfoot.
they did not sell out. They just sold.
Yeah.
People just started to buy. There's a big difference between selling out and selling. Like when Green Day did Good Riddance, be like, they sold out. Because it was getting used at graduations. That's not their fault.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with graduation.
Right.
So Switchfoot's very much that way. They got more refined as they got older, which you kind of hope would happen.
You would. That's exactly right. But I would pass on this song, I'll be honest with you.
All right.
You can go check
a lot of
it out
people
if
did
you would
already.
like.
A lot of people do. I'll see what I got another next week. I've got a couple of them that I've got an idea for. I'm running out of ideas.
All right. Yeah. I'm thinking that and this may change, so please don't hold me to this, but
Okay.
I'm thinking that the song that I'll give you is one of my favorites that you've heard at least a part of. And once you get it, you'll be like, oh yeah,
Jay-Z sampled it.
Taylor's talked about that several times.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what I'm going to do for you.
Okay, great. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
So this was the latest episode then of Not My Scene, as we talked about bands and their songs before they were big. We'll do something different next week. We'll exchange songs and review those, and we'll see you then. Again, this has been the latest episode of Not My Scene.
Different shirt.